Okay, I am back. This is the second video, same day, just a few minutes later. I wanted to let you know about this, what I believe to possibly be, especially in light of the first video, um, to be a prophetic dream. This is, for some additional context that I didn't mention in the first video, I have been steadily watching. I'm subscribed to like probably over 100 YouTube channels involving the rapture, easily, maybe like 200. And I've been watching it very closely over the last, I don't know, like 8 years. Spent many, many hours watching, projections and things like that. So I'm well versed on what the current Watchmen community, where everyone's at, especially with Brother Joshua and stuff. In the times that we're in, and the belief that the 23rd and the 24th might very well be the day of the rapture. Don't let that trigger you. That's not what this dream is about. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. I'd like you to listen to this dream, this prophetic dream, I believe. Let me know if you think it's prophetic, and I'd like an interpretation of what you believe it means, because I'm not entirely sure. Especially maybe some of the symbolism there is in, but I'll kind of read to you what transpired. So, in the dream last night, I was driving with my daughter, and my daughter's 12. She can't drive, but she was driving the vehicle, and we were coming up to an intersection. We were in a town that didn't have this road in it. It was like two different towns that I know of that aren't close to each other, that were kind of mixed together in this dream. And we were driving up this road to a busy intersection, a difficult intersection, what I knew to be a difficult intersection. And so my daughter got out, and we swapped places so that I could handle the intersection so she didn't panic, So we got up there, we go through the intersection, turn left, and we're headed up this hill. This hill in this town would be like by Walmart. It'd be headed to downtown, and there is no cliff face. There's like a hotel on the right side. But in this dream, the land kind of went off down a hill. This was an elevated street, but it went down one way, but it rose up alongside the right side of the hill up to a cliff face that was close to the road. And we drive probably about 150 feet or so, and then everyone starts slowing down and stopping their cars, and I see taillights, and I slow down and stop too. And as I'm looking, I see probably about 150 feet away, 200 feet up, I see like kind of a ritzy, or at least an old-fashioned, like well-built black carriage being pulled by, I believe, one black horse. There may have been two, but I feel like it may have had some like wisps of black smoke around it. But it was coming from a higher elevation. I believe in the vision that it was not vision, but dream, that it was coming from heaven. And I pointed it out while I was still in my car. People were getting out of the cars and starting to walk up the road. I don't recall if I believe that they were stopping because of what I was seeing, but people were slowing down and parking. Let's see. I pointed it out and got out of the car, started walking to as let me I'm just looking at this. Okay, yes. So as we were walking with the others that were parking their cars, we started walking up this road alongside this cliff face, and the Walmart is off to the left. And then this isn't how it is at the town, but there was a town that where there in real life there would be a hill and then another set, like a mini mall on top of that. There was instead, it went downhill, and there was a expanse of a town out. So this carriage, it was still flying on the side, almost became ethereal something, because I saw like the faintest hints of smoke as it circled back around us. I didn't hear it or anything like that. Came around to the left of us and zoomed off over the town. By the time we had walked about a block up or half a block up this road and looked out over the town, I think it was golden hour. It was either, which is gonna, it's odd based off a timing situation that's gonna happen a little bit later. It's not too long of a dream, but so we walked up, but this thing had circled back around and was coming back our way on the right side, and it paused about 20 feet off the ground right next to us, to our right side, and I turned to look, and people were turning to look, and they were kind of gathering behind me. And it wasn't that I was like the central character or anything like that, but they were just behind me. And of what I believed to have been an angel, I couldn't see them. It was like coming from the carriage, but it was clear. It was an announcement. The angel said something to the effect of, "I have now gathered the very elect." And in the carriage was about the size of a boxcar on a train, and its doors were open on one side, and inside it was like a smaller than life, it wasn't like mini, but small enough that it could try to fit locomotive engine that had just been kind of like shoved inside, and it was a little bit hanging out. It wasn't quite fully encompassed by the inside of this carriage, and it wasn't going to fall out or anything. It was secure, but it was completely golden. And I knew that the elect were inside it, and I called out. And I'm not sure why I would have called this out, because in my mind, the only guardians are like well, you have guardian angels, but I don't really think of them as guardians very often. When I think of guardians, I think of Gabriel and Michael, but I think that they're more guardians for like huge prophetic events and things like that. And I suppose that in my mind, somewhere in the back of my mind, I may have considered cherubim or sephirim, the ones that are carrying around God's throne, and you see it in like Ezekiel, with the wheels next to them that have the forehead of faces. I've always thought of those as God's guardian, but God doesn't really need a guardian. I suppose you much rather deal with his guardians than have to, ever reckon with him, But I called out to this carriage, and I'm like, "Have the guardians done something yet?" And one of the elect inside said, "No." Just very matter of fact, like they had no idea that this was coming or whatever, but they were just answering me. I couldn't see them. They were inside, like the side of it. It didn't have like windows, and if they were made of gold, and you couldn't really actually see through them. And I understand that there's not much room in a locomotive engine compartment, but it was housing these people. And then it kind of zoomed off, and I knew that this had to be like a precursor to the rapture or something like that. Well, we'll just wait for your interpretation. But then we kept walking, and this really didn't bother me. I understood that something was happening, and I was happy that biblical events were happening, because it's always exciting, and that we had seen something so extraordinary. And we walked, there was the detour, everyone was walking along the road. We went into an auto parts shop. It wasn't like AutoZone, but it was like smaller, but not like mom and pop shop smaller. It was smaller, like an AutoZone, contained. And we walked through there, and as we're walking out, we came in one entrance on the side of the building, or that front of the building, and there was like another front of the building, like another side that people could also come in, that had a parking lot attached to it. We were all walking through there, and we were going to head up towards town, and I don't remember why we were walking or why I just followed suit. And again, my family is all behind me, at least my daughter. I don't know what other people of my family were behind me. Probably my wife. We were walking, and as we were coming through this, a guy, it looks like that guy, the bald guy on Shark Tank, kind of, the white bald guy on Shark Tank that gets an attitude. Not that I really watch that show, but I see TikToks of it or whatever. And he was kind of fatter, probably late 40s, mid 50s, comes up along my left side. I think he's wearing like a blue suit or something. For some reason, I have this belief that he was wealthy. And he comes up and he's like, do you have the time? What time is it? Or something like that. And I believe shortly after waking up, I tried to solidify the time in my mind. What was it? I believe I told him 10:04. I didn't know if it was AM or PM, but considering it was golden hour at either dawn or dusk, I'm assuming probably dusk, that it was probably PM. But because my watch is a little bit hard to read, if you can see it, it's not your typical. It has, instead of the 1, 2, 3, it's in increments of 5. There's no indication of what the hour is. You just have to count or know spatially. So I took me a moment in my dream to, I'm like, 10:05, actually it's closer to 10:04. I don't know what I said, but I struggled with the time for a second. And then I do believe I said 10:04. And that's about the extent of the dream. There's nothing more that I really remember after that, except I think we may have got out and into the parking lot. But I want to know your interpretation of that, especially in light of the first video that I'll be posting. What do you think? Please comment below. I'm very interested.